Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Batman, Detective, and Death in the City. Now, the reason why I'm reviewing these both at the same time is, one, because they're done by Paul Dini, both of them, who I've expressed before is an amazing Batman writer, and just knows the Batman mythos just so well. In addition to that, they're both under the same format, individual one-shot stories with very little connection to each other, if any. Now, in Batman Detective, somewhat in Batman Death in the City, you get to see Batman use the greatest tool of all, the human brain. We get to see how Batman thinks, how he processes cases, how he deals with certain situations, and proving why he is the greatest detective of them all. Now, you get to see some fan favorites in here, like Batman, Robin, Zatanna, Riddler, Joker, Harley Quinn, Penguin, even Lois Lane shows up. But you also see some new, interesting faces. Some one-shot villains that only show up in these stories, like Facade, the criminal mastermind, or Voss the bomber, etc., etc. Now, I'm not going to go into detail too much about these stories, because there's several of them, and it would just take way too long analyzing them all. However, there's a few stories that stick out right away as being fantastic stories, two of which actually have connection to each other. The first story, which is a fan favorite by most, is the story with Joker and Robin, where Joker abducts Robin and takes him on a little joyride through Gotham. That story is fantastic. It's an excellent portrayal as the Joker, because people either portray the Joker as being really comical or being very psychotic. Very rarely do they get him very nicely done in the middle. And this Joker is very well portrayed. Very reminiscent of the animated series Joker, as it should be, because Paul Dini did both the show and comics. And that's how Robin deals with the situation is very well done. Now, the next story that stands out to me as being a really good story is the one with Zatanna. See, Batman and Zatanna always had kind of a close relationship. They've always had mutual feelings for each other. However, Zatanna's feelings are stronger than Batman, and she wants to pursue a romantic relationship with him. However, he really didn't want to do that with her, and he considered more as a friend. That it was until the identity crisis happens, and he starts to remember that she erased his memory. And that's the biggest violation that could ever happen to Batman. You can hurt his body, you can hurt his spirit, but his mind, no way. He really hasn't forgiven her for that. He calls her in on a case, and the case deals with the Joker. And Zatanna gets shot in the throat. And Batman starts to say, if she dies because of me, she dies because I didn't let her use magic, and if she dies without me saying I forgive you, I'll never forgive myself. Batman, of course, saves her and brings her back to the mansion and watches over her the whole night. Batman basically forgives her for what she did, reconciling their relationship, because he basically states, although not word for word, that if he ever let her die without forgiving her, then he couldn't forgive himself. She's a very close friend, she did wrong, but people do wrong all the time, and he loves her as a friend. So that was a great story also. So on to the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. Just like Private Casebook, which actually came after these, the stories are individual stories that you can just sit down, read, and enjoy. You don't need to invest too much time in these and read all the way through. However, you're probably going to, because they're such great stories. Two is the stories are all nice. There really wasn't any stories that I disliked. The characters were portrayed very well and very loyal to how they should be portrayed. The only bad I could think about this is that they could have been a little bit closer together time-wise, because one of them actually takes place 6 months or so after the other one. Death in the City takes place after Detective. It would have been nice if they were closer together, but other than that, there wasn't any bad to it. The stories themselves, excellent stories. So on the whole, should you get them? Oh yeah, definitely. Detective and Death in the City, I think, are very overlooked. People don't really buy them or pick them up because they're not major Batman stories. But just like Private Casebook, they're fun stories which add to the Batman continuity, and they're very well done. You will like them, and like I said, there's a lot of fan favorite stories in here. So, should you pick them up? Death in the City and Detective? Definitely. You will enjoy them. With that said, this is Andrew saying, peace out for now.